Good evening. My name is Vamitato de Mello. I'm a mastership student from the National Institute of Special Research, Inc. And I'm going to present my work, which I did with my advisor and teacher, Julia Cohen. And the main title is Severe Storm During the Campaign of Project Chuva in the city of Belém. Well, before starting the presentation, there was a misunderstanding from my part, so I left some things in Portuguese, but I'm going to translate to you, so don't worry about it. Well, the main objective of the work was to analyze the formation, development, and the dissipation of a mesoscale convective system which formed at the state of Maranhão and spread out to the city of Belém do Pará during the Project Chuva campaign. Well, the main objectives was to study and analyze the life cycle of the system since its formation, development, and dissipation, and to evaluate the impact of the reaching of the system to the city of Belém. And we're going to do this throughout the data collected by the Project Chuva. And one of the second objectives of this work was to analyze the three-dimensional structure of the convective cell, which I'm going to speak now. Well, this is the metropolitan area of Belém. These yellow pines, which are fixed in this map, are the places where the equipment were installed. There was disdometers and rain gauges and rain gauges. So we measure temperature, wind, and pressure, and the precipitation rate. And this yellow pine down there was where the radar X-band was installed. The radar was from the Project Chuva. So this is the main location of the equipment which were installed during the campaign in Belém. Well, these are the results in this question. These are the life cycle of the storm analyzed. Well, we see right here in the northwest part of the state of Maranhão, the beginning of the convective spread. So this is at the June 7, 2011 at 14 UTC. So we see now the starting of the convective rising right here at this place. Well, 2 hours later, we see the increasing of this convective explosion here. So we can classify now as a CB cumulonimbus cloud. So we can see that it's going to the west direction. So we started here, and 2 hours later was already here. So we see this convective explosion. And at 18 UTC at the same day, we see the same system spreading to the west and gaining mass, and the diameter of the system it's climbing. So we can see right here the system nearby the coast. Well, this is the time of, well, I don't know where's the other image, but this is the time where the system dissipation at the Marajó Island right here. So, well, 2 hours earlier, the system reached Belém right here. This is our satellite images from the American satellite gauge. Well, this is a picture of the radar, the double polarization radar band X. It was a Doppler radar which was installed during the project in Belém. This is the reflective rate, so we can see here the most intensive places in this color, from orange to red. So this is the most intensive areas from the cloud. This is the place where the radar is installed, this mark right here. This is the vertical profile of the storm. This is the reflective rate. So we can see here between the surface and 5 kilometers high, the most intensive parts of the system in the colors of orange. So it means for dBz reflectivity. This is the large-scale environment. So we can at the level of 925 HPA. This is before the system reached Belém. So we can see this flow coming from the southwest and this flow coming from northeast. This is large-scale environment. It's still the large-scale environment. This is during the passage of the storm in Belém. So we see some changes here in the wind flow. So we think that it can be influenced the propagation of the storm. So kind of pull the storm during the west direction. This wind flow helped to pull the system to the west according to the direction of the flow. And this is the wind flow in wide-scale environment after the passage of the storm. So we can see these changes in the wind flow right here. These values here are the velocity, the speed of the lines, the wind lines. Well, this is the zonal component of the wind before and after the passage of the storm. So we see here the height, and here we can see the velocity, the speed of the zonal wind coming from east and coming from west right here. So the break line here, it's before the storm, and the continuous line here, it's after the storm. So you can see here the profile of the wind. This is the meridional component of the wind before and after the passage of the storm. So you see here the behavior of the lines before and after the storm. So we can see here changes in the wind coming from east to west. This is the temperature of the air before and after the passage of the storm. So we can see here a drop in the temperature while you climb the atmosphere. So it kind of matches the two lines. This is the relative humidity before and after the storm. So we can see here the rates of relative humidity in high, right here in this part. Well, this is the impact of the storm at the metropolitan area of Belém. So in this blue line here, it's the passive disdometer. So, well, at 20:30 UTC, it's the time that the storm reached Belém. So you can see a rising in the precipitation rate at the passive and JAWS disdometers. So the passive disdometer measure above 100 millimeters per hour, and the JAWS measure about 60 millimeters per hour, the precipitation rate. So we see this great climbing here in these two measurements from these two equipment. Well, at this day the rain gauges did not measure, so we don't have the behavior. We don't have the measurement from the rain gauge 1 and rain gauge 2. We just have these two measurements from passive and JAWS disdometer. So this is the behavior of the precipitation rate during the arrival of the storm at the city of Belém. This is the direction and velocity of the wind throughout the passage of the storm. So you can see here this huge climbing of the direction of the wind. So we see here a great changing in the prevailing wind, and we see here this rising at the wind velocity right here at the reaching of the arrival of the storm in Belém, and this is the direction of the wind, and this is the velocity of the wind. So we can see changes at the meteorological parameters during the arrival of the storm at the city. This is the temperature and relative humidity during the passage. This blue line here, it's the temperature behavior, and this red line here, it's the humidity behavior. So at the time, at 20:30 UTC was about 5 local time at the end of the evening. Well, when the storm arrived, we can see this great dropping of the temperature at this blue line here, and increasing of the humidity at this red line here. This was the time that the storm arrived at the city. So we see these parameters. Well, this is the numerical simulations that we did about the horizontal structure. So, well, we have a 3 hours late simulation compared to the observed data. This is what was the time that the storm reached Belém. It was a little bit before, because the city is right here. So we had a 3 hour late. This is the vertical structure. This is the wind currents, the vertical wind currents. These are the most intensive parts of the storm in the green color. And the conclusion was that the large-scale wind flow was consistent with the propagation of the storm. The numerical simulation were consistent with the observed data, and we concluded that it was a tropical supercell because of the dynamics and main characteristics, such as isolated storm and presence of ghost fronts and mammatus clouds. And we can see that the drop of the temperature was behavior of downdrafts that brought cool and dry air from the upper levels to the low levels. So this was a tropical storm. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ivan. That's a very interesting case, because normally we are waiting for a kind of squall lines propagate from north to south, and this is move. I remember that at that time we think that there was a kind of sea breeze between the forest in Pará and the savanna in Maranhão that creates something. It's interesting to show this kind of case. So you have questions for Ivan? Everybody wants to go take a lunch. So thank you, Ivan.